Blessings to you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I thank you so much for joining me on this afternoon. I know that we had some time changes, but look, change is good. Change is good. But nevertheless, I'm faithful to the assignment that is upon my life. So I promise you that we're going to get quick word Tuesday no matter what. I am going to come forth and do what thus saith the Lord. So if you can drop in the comments for me just for a moment, stay in the press. Stay in the press. Good afternoon. I am Pastor Deidre Samuel McLeod. I am the pastor of the awesome ministry, Divine Destiny Ministries, right there in Hartsville, South Carolina. And I'm telling you that God is up to something amazing and He's doing something awesome at Divine Destiny Ministries. If you do not have a church home, I'm telling you right now, Divine Destiny is the place where you can be different in order to make a difference. The Spirit of the living God resides right there at 117 Darlington Avenue. I promise you that you will be blessed and grow and do the things that God has set out for us to do. Stay in the press. On this afternoon, I want to speak to the people of God and tell you to keep going forward and stay in the press. That oftentimes we get caught up in the things that life is throwing at us, and we begin to get off course because we think that we're not doing what God has assigned for us to do. And we think because life has hit us, and we think that automatically I cannot possibly be doing the things that God has assigned for me to do. But I want us to know that it's a clear indication that we're on the right track if life is lifing. If the enemy is throwing everything at us, including the shoe, I want us to know that we're doing what God has commanded for us to do. If you're not in the press, apparently you're not a threat to the enemy. So the enemy is not focused and concerned about you at all. But if you're in the press, I promise you, you're doing exactly what God has assigned for you to do. When the enemy knows that you're a threat, I'm telling you right now, he try to press you on every leaning side. I'm telling you, the Bible reminds us that I've been hard pressed on every side. That's what Paul said, but yet I'm not crushed. So if you're in the press, I want you to know right now, you're at the right place at the right time to be able to do what thus saith the Lord. Listen, I teach my children all the time that what's behind you cannot be a threat to you. Why? Because it's behind you. When I'm sitting in my car right now and I look at my rearview mirror is small. It's small. Why? Because what's behind me is not a threat to me. That means I have overcome it. So listen, if you still threatened by the things that are behind you, I'm telling you right now, your focus is in the wrong place. It's behind you. You have already accomplished it. So don't let the enemy keep going over and over with you about the fact that you have a past, because it's in your past. Don't let them press you with that no more. If you've been molested, if you've been wounded, if you've been battling with your mind, if you've been battling with fear, if you've been battling with finances, if you've been battling with the divorce, if you have been battling with certain things, I'm telling you right now, battle with it no more. It's behind you. It's in your rearview mirror. It's in your rearview mirror. In other words, it's behind you. A past is exactly what it is. It's your past. It's behind you. Now the rearview mirror now is before you. The past is the rearview mirror. It's behind you. Now my windshield, it is so much greater. It is so much bigger. Listen, it's bigger. Why? Because my destiny is greater than what I have already had to overcome. If people are still, I told in my ministerial class on last night, if they're still talking about what I did in 1994, that means that they ain't got nothing else to talk about me about. So in other words, their database is not updated, because if their database been updated, they will know now that I am the prophetess. I am the anointed one that God has released for such a time as this. And so therefore, my future is much greater than my past. If you're talking about my past, about the things that I used to do, how I used to live, the things that I used to say, the people that I used to hang out with, all of that stuff don't matter to me. Why? Because it's in my rearview mirror. I have now overcome that. As a matter of fact, the Lord is now using that now to be my testimony. My testimony got to be greater. Why? Because my windshield is so much greater than what's behind me. So I want to speak to the people of God that let you know what's behind you cannot no longer hinder you. Stay in the press. The enemy wants to keep you bound up. The enemy wants to keep you in a place of fear. The enemy wants to keep going over and over in your mind about what you used to do. Listen, when people start talking about what I used to do, I help them out. I help them out because see, I know what I did better than you do. And so I'm going to stay in the press. I'm going to stay in the press. Why? Because I'm not impressed about what you know about what I used to do. Because what I used to do, listen, God is now using it for my testimony to help me to be able to go forth and minister to people that used to be like me. Listen, God got something greater for you to do. Stay in the press. What they saying? They got to update their database. They still talking about what you used to do 10 years ago, 2 years ago. Listen, I don't care nothing about that. My windshield is my future. In other words, I got to see so much greater, and greater is before me. And listen, and what's behind me, and I ain't got nothing to do with that no more. It's behind me for a reason. Don't be like Lot's wife and start focusing and looking back at what was, because you're going to mess around and get salty. She turned to a pillar of salt. Don't allow those folk to make you salty. You hear me? Don't allow them to make you salty. You got work to do. You're the salt of the earth. Don't become salty because of your past. Don't allow them to make you bitter. Allow them to know that, listen, I'm the salt of the earth. I bring seasoning to everything that has already been bland. Listen, it was bland till I got here. Why? Because I'm the salt of the earth. Greater is before me. What you talking about is behind me. Ain't got nothing to do with that. Join me tonight at Bible study as I go down a little bit deeper. Listen, I am suited and booted because I'm in the press and I'm ready to do what thus saith the Lord. Listen, I only got a few more minutes for my lunch. So I got to now go in and be able to minister to these folks on the inside. Have an awesome and wonderful day. Have an awesome, wonderful day. Remember that if nobody else love you, that I love you. Stay in the press. Keep doing what God has called you forth to do. Don't let those folk discourage you and get you off course talking about what you used to do. Yes, Minister elect, I got the flavor. Listen, and I'm shaking salt everywhere I go because I am the salt of the earth. I love you guys. Have an awesome and wonderful day. And to God be all of the glory.